NATO is furious. You see, NATO is in a perpetual state of anger against Russia. That's what the military alliance's primary job is, confronting Russia. But for a change, NATO is now furious at Ukraine. Just to put things in perspective, the world narrowly escaped the breakout of a very big Russia-NATO war on Wednesday. We could have very well been in the midst of a world war right now if the West had taken Ukraine's claims of Russia attacking Poland at face value. As it turns out, Poland was struck by Ukrainian air defense missiles and not by Russia. NATO, the United States, and all of Ukraine's allies have concluded that Russia did not fire the missiles that ended up killing two. Ukraine's Western allies and NATO made it clear on Wednesday that Russia did not strike Poland. They also said Poland was struck by Ukrainian missiles. However, Ukraine's president Volodymyr Zelensky refused to buy their claims. Zelensky publicly announced that he had no doubt the missile that landed in Poland was not a Ukrainian one. Essentially, he was implying that Russian missiles struck Poland. Volodymyr Zelensky has been lying to the world's face, and NATO is beginning to see right through these lies. A NATO official hit out at the Ukrainian regime, saying, and I quote, "This is getting ridiculous. The Ukrainians are destroying our confidence in them. Nobody is blaming Ukraine, and they are openly lying. This is more destructive than the missile." Now, note the keywords here. Ukraine is destroying its allies' confidence in it, and it is openly lying. That's a stunning rebuke coming from NATO. Earlier, NATO's Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said there was no indication that the missile blasts were a deliberate attack by Moscow. He added that the alliance saw no signs of Russia preparing offensive military actions against NATO. Not just NATO, many Ukrainian allies in the West are now getting tired of the dramatic and often unfounded rhetoric that comes out of Kyiv. According to the BBC, this kind of rhetoric is beginning to exhaust the patience of some Western officials. According to them, Ukraine's maximalist language and demands are adding to Ukraine fatigue among allies. That means Ukraine's allies are getting tired of supporting the war-torn country. For Ukraine, the missile blasts in Poland represented a window of opportunity. Finally, Ukraine's regime saw an event unfolding before its eyes that could get NATO in a direct war with Russia. NATO getting involved in the war against Russia would turn the tide decisively in favor of Ukraine. But that's not what happened. Instead, Ukraine ended up infuriating NATO and many of its Western allies. Ukraine's foreign minister Dmytro Kuleba even went on to say that it was a conspiracy theory to suggest that missiles were part of Ukrainian air defenses. For many of Ukraine's allies, these remarks suggested that Kyiv was pinning the blame on the West instead of taking responsibility for its actions. Technically, Ukraine could be facing a collective NATO response due to its missiles killing two people in Poland, which is a NATO member state. Instead of apologizing, Ukraine is blatantly lying and trying to pin the blame on Russia for something it did not do. Do you think Ukraine has made a big mistake?